Really, dog? Hello there. Are we live? Are we going? Is everything up and running? Oop, see something going on behind me. I have a cranky puppy ringing a doorbell behind me. I have no idea what I'm doing tonight, other than painting more minis. And not being able to find my painting supplies that I just bought. Does anybody else do that? Buy new stuff to paint with and then forget where you put it? I seem to do that constantly. Anyway, let's get this party started. Okay, put that away. Leave that open a little bit so I can see it. So I know where it's at the end of the evening. Add a little bit of water to our wet palette. I do that, once or twice a week. Make sure I've got plenty of water in the wet palette. Make sure that sponge under there is nice and saturated. Okie dokie. Hey, Esco, how are you doing? Thanks for stopping by. I'm just, being my typical confused mess of a self tonight. Still painting D&D minis. I'm good, hope you are too. Yeah, I'm just tired from being cooked out in the sun all day, because that's my job, is to go deliver automotive parts out of a 30-foot box truck all day out in the blazing heat, which is always so much fun. So by the time I get done at the end of the day, my brain is fried and I can't remember what the hell I'm doing from time to time. So much fun. Okay, so we're still working on some D&D minis. I've got some Dragonkin fighters. Yeah. The tan lines are real. Or I guess this is the easiest one to show the difference. And those super tan lines. Ugh. Yeah. Well, I mean, this thing, only comes off my wrist to charge the stupid thing. So it's on constantly. So, all year long, I have a tan line. Not as pronounced in the fall, but in the summer, as soon as I get, a decent amount of sun, it's ridiculous. And I don't know if the overhead camera can see it better. Yeah, definitely more definition from the overhead camera on the difference in skin tone. But that's how it goes. So once again, I've gone and bought more paint supplies, brought them home, put them down somewhere, and completely forgot where I put them, because I don't bring them down to my desk where they belong, and I set them down and can't find them. And of course the missus isn't home, so I can't ask her, hey, do you remember what I did with such and such? Because I bought some new dry brushes. I brought some printable transfer paper, so in case I want to print some really small transfers and try and use those. But I do that constantly. It took me a week and a half to find a bunch of paintbrushes I brought previously. Yeah, The only problem I have is like when we go and pick up like the mini of the month from Warhammer, is they end up in my wife's purse, and then I forget that they're there, and she forgets that they're there, and then like a week later she'll be looking for something in her purse, and there's 2 minis of the month stuffed down in her purse, taking up space. So need to remember to get those out. Okay. But we are going to be painting some Dragonkin for D&D tonight. And I haven't decided exactly how I want to paint them yet. And I'm looking at my color selections, which is always fun because all of my colors are for Black Templars and I don't have a lot of other fancy colors. I have a handful of other colors. So it's always fun to be like, okay, how am I going to paint this when I need to go buy more paint, but can't really afford to go buy more paint right now? But we'll figure something out. Let's see, I got some Baharas blue. I've got some frost blue. I thought I had another blue over here. I could have sworn I picked up another blue paint for the painting thing that I did a while ago. But I don't know what I did with it. And all my paints are actually on my desk to where I can see them for once. But like I said, we're just experimenting. We're getting out of the Black Templar comfort zone for a while, experimenting with other paints and other colors, and just seeing what happens. Okay. Because if you look at my TikTok page, like most of my videos are the Black Templar army that I've been working on. But I'm trying to branch out a little bit and get some minis in one of the local game stores, kind of get my name out there as a local mini painter, and maybe be able to pick up some work as a miniature painter. And this holder isn't working very well for the smaller base size. But yeah, like I said, trying to get my name out there as a local miniature painter, maybe start picking up some commissions at the local game stores and turn my hobby into, not a lot of income, but, maybe some income. Be nice. But without, buying a ton of minis and doing like an army specific, doing a bunch of army specific miniatures, just kind of see if they'll do like a consignment on these. And people can pick them up for their games, or, see my painting ability and say, hey, can have somebody email me or text me and be like, hey, do you mind painting a few minis for our D&D group? I'd be like, yeah, sure. Let me know what you want, and I will see if I can do that for you. But if you don't have, something to showcase, it's a lot harder to get your name out there, so I'm just picking up a bunch of old minis that I've had sitting around forever and starting there. The only problem I have with the D&D minis is they're so tiny compared to like my usual Space Marines and whatnot that I've been working on. So I'll say it has been a little interesting painting these the last session and this time. But obviously we're making it work. So I won't be as, detailed on these because they are smaller. But I have been fun painting them. Been having fun painting them. Like I said, it's just neat to get out of what you're used to doing and trying some different things. We're starting off with a little, what is this color? It's a frost blue. And once we do the frost blue, I'll probably do either a wash or a contrast paint over it. Just to bring out some of the details, and then grab my small dry brush and then use a brighter blue. And just see what happens. Of course, you don't see a lot of blue dragonkin in D&D, at least not that I've seen. So we're just, trying something different, seeing what sticks, seeing what works. And my allergies are being ridiculous tonight. Thank you so much, allergies. Like, as soon as I go live, it's like, oh, we're just gonna have you start getting, stuffy and your voice sounding scratchy and all that good stuff. Gotta love it. It's a little hard to see what's going on with this model. Like this weird combination of skin and trousers and straps and belts and but we'll just go around the model and see what happens. Definitely along the backs of the legs. Looks like it's supposed to be open on the back for little sections of armor. Definitely a little interesting on the sculpt choices. I had to put on a pair of gloves for this because the paint's already rubbing off in a few places. Which is always annoying. Trying to paint a mini and the paint just rubs right off of it. Okay. Touch up his head real quick. It's gonna be real annoying if that keeps happening. I don't know what it is about these D&D minis, but I've tried priming them with a different primer, but I don't know if it's just they have hard edges on them, it's easy to rub the paint off of them, or what. But I seem to very easily rub the paint off of these things constantly. But we are trying to get like the skin areas done first, and then we'll work our way out to the armor. Some of the bits, it's like really hard to see what's going on the model. But we can work with it. I'm just trying to get this initial base color down. Hey Louise Fanyo, how's it going? How are you doing tonight? Trying to keep track of what's going on in the chat everywhere. I finished your new project. What have you been working on? And did you share it to the Discord? You can't send a link through Twitch. If you go to the About tab on Twitch, there is a permanent link to a Discord. You go to the About Me page, and there's a banner that says Discord. That banner is a permanent clickable link that will take you to my Discord server. And there's a tab in there called Finished Minis or Works in Progress. So if you want to share anything, that's the place to do it. Because I never know what people are going to post in Twitch chat or TikTok chat or anything like that, so it's harder for me to look at stuff that way. So I just tell everybody, you know, go ahead and send it through the Discord, because that's what it's there for. And I could take a look at it over there. Okay. Okay, you join Discord. But, look at my other screen. When you mention, nope, this is I'm live on Twitch. Yeah, but the link is over there. It doesn't look like you've joined yet, or there's maybe just a delay. But yeah, that's the place that you share like whatever projects you've been working on. And of course, I've lost the original packaging for these guys, so I don't remember how they were painted on the packaging. Not that I'm going to make a match, but sometimes it's easier to see like all the details and stuff. I suppose I could Google it, but not really going to do that. Because we're just going to go ahead and use our imagination on how these guys should look. Alright. Now that we've got like the scale sections done, let's go ahead and hit those with a wash real quick if I can find my right brush and the wash that I'm looking for. And hopefully the wash, it comes out all right. I know some of my washes are super old, so they don't look the best when I use them, but it's fine. At some point, I will buy some new washes to use. I just haven't done it yet. We're just gonna quickly smear some of this on here. That way we can get some of those details to come out, like the little spaces between the scales and whatnot. Try and keep this in front of the camera where folks can see what's going on. Okay, and we've got a viewer bot thing in the old Twitch chat, so goodbye, you're banned. Do not spam my Twitch chat with garbage, thank you very much. Goodbye. I'll never understand that. I mean, I understand people wanting to get viewers, and you have people out there that are willing to pay for them. But to sit there and like have bots that hop into people's chats is stupid and annoying. But it is what it is. I understand how the internet works. And scammers are gonna scam. Let's see, don't see any notifications in the Discord yet. I'll keep an eye out for it for folks that hop in and share stuff. I don't really have a good way of sharing it on screen yet because I haven't got that set up, even though I keep saying that at some point I will. Just haven't taken the time to get extra scenes set up to, you know, share what people are working on with on Twitch and TikTok. I will do it one of these days. I just have not done it yet. There we go. See, this is why I love washes. Instantly get all sorts of really nice details popping out. And of course, now I have to sit there and let that dry for a minute. An extra little thing that I found that helps is having an airbrush. Just helps dry the paint out a little bit. If you don't want to wait, I know some people use a hair dryer and stuff like that. But an airbrush works too. If you're trying to keep moving on your projects. Okay, and now set that out of the way and grab our small dry brush. And that's the reason I was looking for other brushes earlier, because I bought some new small dry brushes and I don't know what I did with them. So that's always frustrating. Like, I'll buy new brushes, I'll bring them home, set them down somewhere, and forget where I put them. It's amazing. Is my superhuman uncanny ability to lose paint supplies that I just bought. Just gonna do a little bit of dry brushing, grabbing the raised up sections of the scales, just adding another little layer of color. Was on the paint table, D&D minis. Taking a little bit of a break from the Templars to paint some D&D minis, to get them in a local game store or two under consignment, just to try and get my name out there as a local miniature painter, maybe pick up some extra work, and maybe turn my hobby time into a little bit of extra income. This is what I'm hoping. But right now we're painting 2 Dragonkin fighters. We did kind of a frost blue base coat, then we did a blue wash over them, and now we're just kind of doing some quick dry brushing on the scales to bring out a little bit more detail. I think it's turned out so pretty good so far. Very cool. If you're willing to do commission work, out their recommendations your way. I mean, they kind of have to be, local to Western Kansas. I don't know how comfortable I am shipping stuff back and forth yet. And that may be somewhere down the road, but not quite ready for that yet. I'd like to build up a little bit of a local portfolio before I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll open it up larger than that. But last painting session I did was working on a couple of pirates that I've had sitting around forever. So got those painted up. Better pictures on TikTok, of course, or Instagram, any of that stuff. But yeah, just, getting out of the, the typical, Black Templar comfort zone and working on some other stuff for a little while. Was it great, man? We do a Monday night hobby with some friends if you're ever interested. Oh, Monday nights are when I'm actually playing D&D with a group of friends, and we're streaming that on Twitch and YouTube. So my Monday nights are booked. Tuesdays and Thursdays are when I'm doing this or playing video games. I mean, lately I've been focusing on painting minis because I've just been having too much fun with it. But I do plan on working on other projects here and there. Let's see. But the D&D minis have been fun, but it's a whole other level of tiny. I mean, Space Marines aren't very big, but you compare your standard Space Marine to a D&D mini. This is much larger, easier to paint. Fair, Camelos, Big Nerd, and two streamers do good work if you want to grow. Yeah, they're definitely tiny. Was it? I think Big Nerd. I think his power got knocked out today, so he wasn't going to go live. Unfortunately, I think it was Big Nerd that made that post because of a storm locally, which is unfortunate. It's always rough, you got your big plans to go live and everything, and then Mother Nature just decides, no, you're not. But definitely making it up as we go along on this paint scheme tonight. Like, how am I gonna paint these? I don't know. We'll just run with it. And sometimes because they are so small, it's hard to tell what's what on the mini. It's like, is that a belt? Is that a strap? What is that actually supposed to be? How am I supposed to paint this? Oh, paints be decent board game minis. There's all smaller also. Yeah, I keep practicing because, especially on like much smaller minis, because a few years ago they had a Labyrinth board game. So like Ludo, Jareth, Sir Didymus, all the main characters from the Labyrinth. There are minis in the box for that board game, and I want to at some point go through and paint them. I think painting Ludo will be a lot of fun. But it's one of those things, I have to make sure my painting ability is at a good enough level that my wife won't get upset if I snatch them out of the box and start painting on them. Because it is her board game. Okay. But yeah, there's like tons of stuff around the house that I have available for me to paint, whether it's Warhammer minis of the month that I've picked up, or old board games I've got sitting around somewhere. Of course, I think I picked it. My mom picked it up in the '90s or something. Somewhere I have like an old original Battle Masters playmat game, which of course, now that I'm older and paying attention, a lot of the minis for that were made by Games Workshop. So it's like I'd like to find that because they're old Warhammer Fantasy models. And so it's like I'd like to find those again and get them out and paint them, because I think that would be fun. So tiny. But yeah, it was really cool finding out that I had this old board game that I would never really paid attention to as a kid, and it turns out that it used old Games Workshop models. I was like, hey, that's really neat. And so now I need to find that box. It's a massive box. And it came with like some cavalry troops and stuff, and this big plastic castle thing. Not big plastic castle, but it has a plastic castle that came with it, which in high school, and of course this is how I lost a piece of it, there's a plastic castle that came with the Battle Masters game, and I actually took it to school in my metalworking class and used it to make a casting mold with, and did an aluminum casting of the castle that I gave to my mom. I figured out how to get it to work. I got the whole thing to cast, and it came out really well. So that was cool. And knowing that I've done stuff like that in the past, it's like, oh, I wish I had a foundry to, be able to melt aluminum and do that again. One of these days, I can save up some of the adult money that I'm supposed to be making now and be able to, buy one of the TikTok foundries, and hopefully it won't blow up in my garage. Can I help you, puppy? I have a puppy that gets very upset when it's my hobby time. All right, Johnny, have a good night. Thanks for stopping in and chatting for a little while. Nezuko, you are fine. You have been out. You have been fed. You have had all of your needs taken care of. But I want more attention now. You're fine. There are some teeny tiny little details on this thing that I can't exactly tell what they're supposed to be. It's always a little frustrating. Also trying not to touch the top of his head because that wipes paint off. And that's frustrating. I'm sorry I'm getting my head in the way, but you got like these super dark areas tucked in on the underside of the model. That we try and get painted. Try and properly paint his gooch real quick. Nezuko, you're fine. You are so pathetic, you know that? Go find one of your toys. I don't need you to bite me right now. Go on, little Miss Spoiled. Here in a minute, she's gonna go ring the doorbell again. Because we have doorbells set up in the house, so if she wants to go out, she can let us know. But because she's figured out that, you know, that's how she can get our attention whenever she wants, she'll just go and randomly ring the doorbell. And there it is. I know it's far enough away from the microphone that you probably can't hear it. But as soon as her wet nose hits that doorbell, it rings like 6 times in a row. And that is one of her favorite things to do. Just can't tell what that's supposed to be right there next to his kneecap. But it is oddly textured. But we're just gonna do the old let the paint hide it method. Okay, when you go back to our finer detail brush, back into our brown real quick. Thought about doing this like some sort of a sash, but I'm just gonna make it a leather strap going around his waist. Alrighty. I think that's got that pretty well. And now gonna do some touch-ups here and there with our black. As I stick my finger in a ton of gray paint. Let's not do that. I hear you, sweetie. Trying to get... Really? And TikTok is not making any noise right now. I don't understand that. Settings. Advanced audio settings. System. Add live studio? I don't know. Anyway. There are some things that I still haven't figured out since the last time my computer did some updates that messed some things up, and so I don't get all the proper sound notifications the way I'm supposed to for whatever reason. So amazing that it does that. I keep going back and forth. Do I want to do silver armor or gold armor on this guy? I can't decide. But I'm just trying to get the armor touched up and blacked out again for when I make that decision. I think I'm gonna do gold. But because I got paint in various places that I didn't mean to get it, I had to go through and get that touched up real quick. Thank you for the likes. I definitely appreciate it. Sorry I get quiet when I'm doing like super tiny details. Just all part of painting the Mini. Back of the gauntlet right here. All right. Let's see, I think I'll do this combination. And I know these have been sitting for a while. So if you need a paint mixer, Muscle Gun. Muscle Gun works great for mixing up your paints. Variable speeds. But quick, easy way to mix up your paint. Okay, and I need the dry brush once again. Because we're not going crazy with it. And we don't have a whole lot to paint. Yes, puppy, I hear you. And you are fine, as usual. And dry brushing with metallics is one of my favorite ways to paint. I don't know why, it just always seems to work for me. Oh, as my arm cramps. Come on, seriously? Stop. Yeah, just, you know, kind of swiping and stabbing with the dry brush. Leaves, in my opinion, a really good worn metal look, scratched metal look. I say that, and I, of course, always put the mini somewhere where you guys can't see what I'm doing with it. Oh, come on. Sorry, my arm keeps cramping. Just starting building and painting. Could you explain how to use a contrast? Like a contrast paint or a speed paint is a very thin type of paint that if you have a, you know, basic white model or different colored models, you just kind of smear it on like you would do a wash, but because it's got more pigment than a wash in it, it falls into all the little cracks and stuff, and makes it look like you've got different shades of paint on there. Just makes it your painting go a lot quicker. Is the best way I can explain it. I know it's not a perfect explanation of it. Thanks so much. Just got some from my Space Wolves. The gin helped a lot. Yeah, a lot of people like what I'm doing right now with the dry brushing. People will do that with different shades of like white and gray. Thank you for the follow, ATCQ. So you'll do like layers of paint like that with gray and white, like a light gray and a kind of an off-white and a bright white. And then when you go over it with your speed paints or contrast paints, it brings out those details. And you'll have like different shades because of the color of the paint that's underneath it. I know some people get like super butthurt when you try and explain how to do slap chop on this app. And I don't understand that. It's just, you know, you're trying to give people, you know, a basic painting method to be able to get their minis on the tabletop. So I don't know why some folks get upset if you try and explain the slap chop method, but that's what a lot of people use like speed paints and contrast paints for. Hi, Bruce. But like you'll do the dry brushing and then you'll do like a lighter shade, and then when you do the speed paint or contrast paint, where did my pile of gold go? So I've got this little pile of gold, and that has different contrast paint, so you can see like where the paint is further down in the cracks and recesses, it gets darker, and up top it's lighter. I've just been using this to see, you know, how the different paint colors come out. It's not that serious, Nezuko. I promise. And yes, my puppy's name is Nezuko. I'm a huge anime nerd. And now I'm going to take a lighter color of gold and then do the dry brush thing again. And just very lightly hit the edges, because it'll make, you know, the really raised up parts a little bit brighter. But now we got our nice bright shiny gold on there. And then we're going to take some of this nice, really bright red, because there's a couple of jewels on here. Throw like a little spot on the wet palette. Now we got the jewels on the breastplate. Oh. Do a little bit of edge highlighting here and there, bring out the texture of his trousers a little bit. Try not to go too crazy with it. Just trying to bring out the lines and wrinkles a little bit on the trousers. And then gonna grab our brush that we do washes with, and we're gonna do some Agrax Earthshade on this guy real quick. Why? Because Agrax Earthshade is amazing stuff. Like around all the armor pieces. On the trousers. Just brings out some more detail on the model. But this is another one of those, you kind of just let it flow down into all the little cracks and crevices on the armor. And let it bring out some more of the details. Alrighty. Oops. Suppose it would help if I took care of his shield too. Thank you for the follow, Space Wolf. Hey, look at that. I got my sound back on TikTok. I did something right. Alright, now I've just got some little details to do with my metallic on this little tabard thing that hangs down on the belt. Sorry, I'm trying not to get my head in the way while I'm doing this. There we go. You got a couple little details left to do. I mean, of course, I still have to paint his whole entire weapon. That would be helpful as well. Gotta paint inside of his mouth real quick. There you go. Gotta give him a tongue. And of course, one other thing. Give him some bright yellow eyes. As I mess that up because my hands shake. And this is why I don't do eyes on D&D minis. But it's fine because I have the paints on my wet palette to be able to make adjustments. I knew better than to do this, but I tried to do it anyway. Okay. Now I've got that pushed back in a little bit. Where's my blue wash at? But like I will say several times during my live streams, a great portion of your painting time will be spent touching up spots of paint because you got paint where you didn't mean to get it. See, one eye doesn't look half bad, the other one's kind of a mess, so I'm just going to take it back to fill the eyes in where it's just dark. For me, the D&D minis are just too small to paint eyes. I can't get them right, but it's fine. It's always good to know your limitations. There we go. And just because I need to darken up his tongue a little bit. Do that. Set this off to the side. We're going to paint his toenails. That paint is not mixed up at all. And just because we need a very small amount of this, go out of the paint pot real quick on these. And grab some teeth real quick. The small puppy is getting very excited. But there we are so far. Almost done with this one. All I have to do is finish painting his spear over here. And put a little bit of Agrax Earthshade on his toes real quick. There we go. Let me grab the old dry brush again. Because we are going to shake our paint up again. Grab a little bit more of the Sycorax bronze. Go around that bit. That bit up top. And where's our lead belcher? Nezuko, will you please calm down? Little crackhead dog. There. Just doing the dry brush with the lead belcher. For the end of the spear. And we're getting to the point where we are almost done. Of course, I still have to do the ground underneath him, but that's fine. Where'd that auric armor gold go? You go back over there. I'm dragging all my paints out again and losing stuff on my desk right in front of me. Because that's my favorite thing to do. No, not Retributor armor. Auric armor. That's why I couldn't find it, because I put it in the complete wrong spot. So you're doing just such a tiny amount with that. You go back over there. And our last little bit of dry brushing will be some Stormhost silver. And now just to paint the staff of the spear. Okay. I'm gonna need a little bit more paint. And I'm doing sort of a dry brush, but going a little bit thicker because there are some metallic paints that I have to get covered up with the brown. But doing it this way, kind of end up with a little bit of a sort of wood texture. None of my paints are mixed tonight. But there we are. As I stab one of my lights. There we go, got a blue dragonkin. I think he turned out pretty well for just messing around for another night tonight. So, started out with one that was all black, ended up with a fully painted mini. Can I help you? But unfortunately, I'm probably gonna have to call it early tonight. I mean, this one took about 2 hours to paint. But we'll be back next week with some more mini painting. Just the puppy needs some extra attention, and I've had some very long, very hot days at work, so I'm exhausted because I work outside all day, or I guess I'm in and out of a truck all day, making multiple stops delivering automotive parts. So my brain is a little fried. and so I need to get some extra sleep. But I want to thank everybody for coming by. Like I said, if you're on TikTok, on my page, there's my Twitch address. If you're on Twitch, you can check out the About page. On the About page, there's a banner that says Discord. Where it says Discord is actually a clickable link. So if you want to see what's going on over there, you can join the Discord. You can post whatever you've been working on lately, and I hope to see you over there. But until then, everybody have a good night, and we will see you next time. Next time I will be live is Monday night for Dungeons and Dragons, and then we'll be back to some more miniature painting on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Everything's like 7:30 to 10 p.m. usually. But see y'all then.